Hey, everybody. We are back for more. Welcome back to our channel.
And today, we're going to be interviewing Amy Justice, and our topic today is dating in your 40s. Woo!
Are we really ready for this, girls? Buckle up.
I think a lot of people, men and women, this will be very informative, I think.
Yeah. I think it'll be funny. That's just my...
That's how you got to look at it, though, right?
Thus, we're in the laugh lounge, guys, so we've got to laugh.
Laugh lounge, that's right.
Come on. Yes,
that's right.
Yes. So who, do you want me to start?
Yeah, you start with it, girl.
Well, first, because I haven't met you until now, really, like, to get to know you, and I would like to know how. First of all, how long have you been single? Like, technically single.
So, for the audience listening and watching today, I am Karyl's ex-sister-in-law, technically.
Yeah, I was going to introduce you, actually.
So I was married to her brother at one point.
But they're on good terms. They're on good terms. They co-parent and everything together. So it was, we're very, very fortunate. So
we get on really good.
Yes.
We've been divorced 11 years. So I have been technically single for 11 years now.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that
You've been
long.
in these dating streets a long time.
I've had a few relationships, but yeah, for the most part, I've been single the majority of the time.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So tell me, okay, there's so many different ways to be single and mingle these days.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have the online options with all the different apps and different things that you can do, but how are you meeting people? Are you doing any of it like the old-fashioned way, like at the grocery store in aisle 10?
Grocery store.
Do you mostly find yourself like online doing it,
aisles.
mostly going on? Yeah, vegetable aisle.
You know, I wish I had more of those face-to-face meeting interactions that we had back in the 90s. But that doesn't happen very often. I don't meet guys at the grocery store. I mean, I meet people, but it's never flirty. You know, I don't meet them in the Pilates gym because it's all women, and definitely doesn't happen in church because 99.9% of the people there are married.
Oh.
Right? Or couples. So, yeah, it's hard to meet people nowadays, unless it's like an online dating app. I mean, it's sad but true.
Okay, so online dating app. So tell me the apps that you're familiar with.
I mean, I've been on a number of them, but Bumble is actually my favorite. Bumble was created by a female executive who worked for Tinder, and she didn't like the way Tinder was run, so she created Bumble. So Bumble's cool because if he doesn't swipe right and I don't swipe right, he can't message me.
Oh.
Is Bumble the one where you have the female has to message first instead of the male? Like, so you both can swipe right. Swiping right is saying yes. Swiping left, for those of you that are married, is saying no. So when you swipe right, a man swipes right, you swipe right on Bumble, then you have to message him. Otherwise, nothing happens.
Correct. He cannot message me first. Whereas on Tinder, a guy can message you first, or Plenty of Fish, or whatever. So that's, they're all different.
So you like being in control, it sounds like, Amy. Is that true?
I like to narrow down the crazies, yes. I do.
I think that's the only app where the female has the control on the initial contact, right? Yeah.
I was watching Beverly Housewives, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and there's one lady on it that she uses Bumble. That's the first time I heard of it. And I'm like, well, if she uses it, it must be legitimate. But then I started getting to know her personality. I was like, I don't know. It's so funny. It's so funny. But I've heard real good things about Bumble from friends. So,
yeah.
How long have you been on Bumble?
Recently, like a week. I just got out of a relationship a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're back in.
Was nice. Back in the dating field.
So how long did you guys date before you broke up?
We were together 3 months, my last relationship. My longest relationship since my divorce was 3 years. So 3 months, 3 years. I've had everything in between.
Okay.
3 years isn't too shabby. That's a good one.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was a long time.
Yeah.
And I
That's
met
a
her
really good one.
ex. I liked him, but I only met him at a swim meet. That's it. So I couldn't really judge him. He was nice. I don't know. So you can't get to know somebody in like 30 minutes. So
right.
This is true. It's true. I mean, I've been taking a love relationship class. I won't name it because I'm not getting promoted to do that. But I've been taking a love relationship class.
Amy, I told Jennifer, I told Amy, I think you'd want to hear this. So it sounds pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
A class on how to be in a relationship?
How to date in today's world, how to meet people, how to send the right text messages, how to get over a heartbreak. They have all kinds of modules that you can take. And I kind of had a revelation today. Like, my last relationship ended because he was not ready to be in a relationship. It wasn't me, but it was him. He was not ready. So there's so many different reasons why people break up. Obviously, it's communication issue in the beginning, right? But usually it's either he's not ready or she's not ready, or there's some kind of emotional baggage from a previous relationship they just haven't gotten over, you know? So I think a lot of times people get in the dating pool and they're just not ready for it.
But don't you feel like they should have probably done some introspective work and figured that out before wasting your time?
Gosh. Yeah, not everybody's willing to do that.
I can't even stand it.
If only it was that easy, Jennifer.
That's just one of my pet peeves is when people waste your time. That's just a major pet peeve of mine.
Especially at our age. You think why would you want to like play around at our age? Like, why?
Right. You got to do the work. You got to know that there's work to do on yourself, and make sure you ask these questions and get therapy and do something to make sure you're ready. But
and it's either you, Jennifer, or you, Amy. I was talking about like, why can't, and maybe I can understand, why can't you just kind of go into dating, or if you kind of start liking somebody with a clean slate, like, hey, I had a crappy dating history, but I'm not going to take that out on this next person. And then that person should do the same. If you can kind of go into it, clean slate. But I understand, though, if you've been done really dirty in the past, I totally understand, like, having your, antennas up. But I just don't understand why you just can't just go in and just, give somebody benefit
leave
of the
your
doubt.
baggage at the door and just go in like nothing's ever happened to you.
Yeah, until you start seeing the red flags and start seeing those red flags, you just run for the door. Don't waste your time. Just go. But go into it. But I've not been there, so that's what I just keep thinking when I hear about everybody's dating things. So dating stories.
I think it's easier said than done. I think a lot of people have gone through a lot of trauma once you get to this age that we're in, right?
Yeah.
And you think that you're over stuff, and then sometimes you get into something, and then triggers happen that you didn't know were going to happen. And bad things.
I think that's true with dating or marriage, because every marriage has had ups and downs and stuff like that. And there's always going to be kind of like their little trigger or something, It's like you got to push it back, though, and move forward.
Right. Now, the class that you said you're taking, what have you learned? Give us a takeaway that you can share with the world to help us all, because we all need help.
The takeaways I've learned so far is to not take it personal, number one. When you get dumped, like I said, there's either an issue with him or an issue with you, but it always comes down to communication breakdowns, right? None of us are perfect. And we tend to be attracted to our polar opposites, right? Maybe they come from a different background, but typically they're on the same intellectual level that we are. Obviously, there's something that attracted you to that person, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have been attracted to them. But, we all have walls up. I had walls up. I'm sure you do too, as a single lady. We all have walls up, and it's just meeting that right person that's willing to break those walls down and is patient enough to stay the course. That's really the true challenge. That's the diamond in the rough right there, Yeah.
And like, I don't know, when you say don't take it personal, that just reminds me too of like having to put your pride aside, because pride's a big thing for a lot of people. And trying not to take things personal. Sometimes it's like a pride thing, where you have to really check yourself and say, okay, instead of being, what is it? I've been in therapy before, and instead of what did my therapist say? A therapist that I had several years ago after I got divorced said, instead of being offended, which would be taking it personal, right? She said, instead of being offended, how about let's be curious? I wonder why he thought he could step to me that crazy.
Right.
Or I wonder what kind of bad day he's having to where he just kind of went off the deep end on me like that. Instead of, oh, no, you're not talking to me like that. Or I know you didn't come at me like that. Like just changing your perspective of how you internalize what's happening to you.
Yes.
That was like really great advice. So don't take it personal. I think that's a really good takeaway. That's a really good one. What else did you learn?
Dating is tough. I mean, we've got maybe previous experience. Maybe we were cheated on. Maybe we weren't cheated on. Maybe there was financial issues. Whatever. Trust is a big deal. And with me, I give you my trust in the beginning until you break it. And I've had to realize that not everybody will trust you as much as you will trust them, right, in the beginning. So I've had, again, that's something you can't take personal. I feel like as a high quality woman, we have to learn how to navigate this world today, right? This is not how it was 20 years ago. I wish it was. I really wish it was. But there's just a lot of takeaways I've gotten out of this class, and one of them is just something as silly as sending the right text message so you're not coming off as aggressive or not coming off as pushy. But I think as women we tend to be emotionally connected. We want to text a guy every hour, like, hey, how's your day going? Hey, what's going, and a lot of times they don't want to be bugged that much. They don't want that much interaction with you. So I've really had to learn how to step back and be patient and kind of bide my time when it comes to dating. So
it's so different, isn't it? Online dating and texting and all that. Oh my gosh, that's way different. You said 20 years ago. Wow. I mean, Derry dated
there's so many other rules.
9 years ago. Oh my God. It was like letters and long distance phone calls that you had to pay for. That's how we dated.
Mm-hmm.
You're going way back.
I'm going way back. Letters and you got to pay per minute or Yeah. So I don't know which way.
I got my cell phone because of your brother, Karyl.
Yeah. And the thing is, I don't know which way's better. Back the way you did it back then or now. So I don't know.
Because with text messages, moods can be misconstrued.
Yeah.
And you can take it completely a different way than if you're hearing them on the phone.
Yeah.
Yes, perception.
That's one good thing about FaceTime, though. FaceTime's good. I need to use it more. I'm trying to.
Yeah. I'm like
to.
you as far as like, even when you talked about trust and you said that you go all in, you have my trust. Here you go, 100%. And if percentages start to come back, I have to take them back, then I will. I'm the same way. I'm just totally open when I date someone and when I'm getting to know someone. I'm just comfortable doing that. I'm not a secretive person, really. So it's just my nature to just say, you have all my trust until I see something that tells me to pull it back. So I'm like you in that regard too.
I think in a lot of ways I'm almost too transparent, too much of an open book, because if we're dating and you say, Amy, where were you at? I'm like, oh, I was out with my friend Whitney and we went to a restaurant. I'll be very open and honest with you. And with previous relationships, if I would say I was out with Whitney, he wouldn't believe me. And so I'd be like, click, here we are at Charlie's eating dinner.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I started doing that because I felt bad.
She must have done one of those hand gestures that made there's hand gestures that like do things now. Like
I'm trying to get it to do it.
And she must have done one of those.
Disney magic.
Disney magic.
That's cool.
Oh my gosh.
Wear my Disney shirt. But yeah, I just noticed myself trying to go the extra mile to prove to him that when I said I was with my friend, I was with my friend.
And who was this? Was someone that you were just starting to talk to?
I had dated him. I'm not gonna say which one it was.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say which one it was, but it started to come to the point where I didn't feel like he trusted me when I said who I was hanging out with or what I was doing. And so I would start taking pictures of where I was at, who I was with, and I'd see, completely innocent, nothing going on here.
Yeah.
That sounds like he had some issues going on where he was, feeling he was letting past things seep into what was going on with you guys.
Well,
Absolutely.
Well, I'm sure Penny wouldn't mind me sharing this, but with her ex-husband, she would be out shopping with me, and he knew she was shopping with me, but he would blow her phone up continuously. It was just like, and I was getting so aggravated. I was like, he knows you are with me. What is the deal? What's the deal? Or he'd ask her to FaceTime where she's at. She told me that once. So, and then I started watching like some of these reality shows that other like, they call it like, I don't know, bad relationships. People are always blowing each other's phone up because they don't trust like where they're at. That I guess that's the thing. I don't know. But I just remember getting aggravated by Penny's ex-husband, like, while I'm out clubbing with her or something. I'm her mom. But that would irritate me.
They say we get more patient as we get older, but my patience for what I call foolishness or toxicity, it's nil. Like I have zero. And I will not waste my time. Like if somebody ever comes at me like that way, I'll give them a couple of passes. But if it's a continuous thing where they can't get a hold on that, like that's toxic to me. And that's what my dad would call acting a fool. And I don't do well with that. I don't have patience or time for it. So I just I will just cut something off. Like if I feel any kind of toxic stuff going on or any kind of past situations seeping in, and I'm taking the blame for some stuff that maybe you got cheated on before and now it's seeping into us, and that's not fair. I just don't have time. If people haven't healed and haven't fixed things, I'm like, I'm gonna have to just move on to the next. Gotta go. Gotta go.
So Amy, would you ever get married again? I'm sorry, go ahead. You go, Jennifer, you go with it.
No, go ahead. I was just going to ask her about the other apps.
No,
I know Bumble's your favorite.
No, you should do that. No, you should do that. People need to know.
What were the other ones that you've used?
I used Plenty of Fish a few years ago. That was not good. Tinder. So Tinder, the problem with Tinder is a lot of guys think it's an app for just that one thing, whereas women are not approaching it for just that one thing. So Tinder is a question mark to me.
Have you ever tried Facebook dating?
I have. I haven't had much luck out of Facebook dating. I think I met one person off of that. Of course, for me, it's like 1 out of 100 I'll even make the decision to meet. It's very rare that I actually meet the guy because normally their attention span isn't very long, and a week later they're gone.
Yeah,
they're ghosted.
That ghosting thing is something else. It's like people either you don't know, like they'll start talking to you online, and then all of a sudden they're gone. Like, wait, we were just talking and we had a conversation going, and then you disappeared.
I know.
Where are you?
Right.
Okay, delete.
Probably he met someone else, but he's not brave enough to tell you that he met someone else,
Or they just have way too many balls in the air. They're talking, they're trying to talk to way too many people, and they just can't keep up.
I would like to get married someday. It's just where I've been divorced from her brother for so long. I just can't picture it happening. Does that make sense? Like it's been so long,
Are you saying you're losing hope?
No. I'm not saying I'm losing hope. I'm just saying maybe I'm a little bit more jaded than I was 10 years ago. A little less optimistic.
That leads into a good question that Jennifer actually had written down is, have your standards and needs changed now that you're older? Are you still in it for pure love or other things that are important?
I think if I were to meet someone tomorrow, it would be love plus companionship. Because for 11 years, the majority of that time, I haven't had anybody to run by ideas with or make large decisions with, or just, how was your day? You doing okay? Like, I miss that. I miss that companionship that I took for granted as a married woman. That's really what I miss more. So I think if I marry again, it's going to be for companionship first, and I guess love second. So
Yeah.
Nice.
I want someone to grow old with. I want to be able to sit in the rocking chair on the front porch with that old man. And,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Enjoy my twilight
Yeah.
together with him. That's what I want.
And financially, what would you look for in a guy? A guy who can kind of, you know, hold his own, or you want to be pampered, or just partnership? Because I've seen relationships go both ways, where either the girl's keeping the guy up, or vice versa, or they both have separate finances. They don't combine them. How does that work?
Ideally,
like, what would you want?
Ideally, ideally, if his salary is close to mine, I think that works out the best. I've been in relationships where there was a pretty significant difference between salary, and it did cause some tension, some stress. Not saying that that's a priority for me. Honestly, the priority for me is how I'm treated at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, and how responsible.
Finances are,
it's just being responsible. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I feel like at our age, if you don't have a job and you're not able to pay your bills, and maybe you don't own a home, something's not right. Something's going on, you know?
I mean, I was really bad with money in my younger days, and I'm sure Amy remembers that. I was just terrible. I would spend. It was always on my kids all the time, on them have everything. But as I've got older, it's just so much different. Now, Jeremy's more of the spender, but he can. It's okay. And I'm more of like, I really don't. It's just, maybe I'll splurge once in a blue moon, but I'm more like, you know, more of the cautious side, because I had a lot to learn. I had to get some really good mistakes to learn from. So, but I think as we get older, I think it's big. Like, whoever you're going to date, hopefully they're just at least at by our age, they're responsible with their money, no matter how much they make.
Yeah.
Just, you know,
just have it together.
Right.
Yeah, like
right.
at our age, it's like, it's just an expectation. Like, that's just like a given. Like, you should have good credit by now. You should have figured this out by now. Like, you should have a savings account. Like, you should, have some financial responsibility. Have you ever owned a home? Have you always rent? Like, we need to be on like some kind of level playing field, kind of, in order to make it work, I think, too. Yeah, I agree. But I'm in it for me personally. Like, I have everything that I want. And I'm not a very materialistic person, but like, I literally have everything that I desire, that I want. I don't need a man for things or for to help me financially. But would I take the help?
Well, yeah.
Sure would. Would I mind being, you know, playing that second role? Like, if he makes more than me, great. If he makes the same as me, okay. If he makes less than me, I mean, I still think that would be okay for me too, but I don't know. I would be fine if somebody wanted to come in and just say, hey, you don't have to worry about anything. Go do your dream job that you've always wanted to do, or start that business, and I'll take care of the house if we get married, of course. I would be all for that. Right about now. Great. That would be amazing. Like, I would take that. I want to be a stay-at-home dog mom. So yeah. If someone wants to make that happen, holla.
Right.
So keeping hope alive over here too.
I love that.
But love, I think, and companionship, like you said, is, I think, more important now that we're at the stage of life that we're at. Like, you want to rock in a rocket chair with your best friend and be able to laugh. Like, someone that makes me laugh is super important, because all that other stuff wears off. Stuff's gonna stop working after a while, and you guys gotta like each other's company in order to be able to make it really work forever, you know? So you gotta make you laugh. You gotta enjoy them. You gotta,
And somebody who wants to do the same things you want to do, whether if you're a homebody and you want a homebody, or you like to travel and do new things, you know, because it really does matter having similar interests, you know. You know, you guys know, me and Jeremy went through some tough times, and I think in the end it was us having a lot of similarities, common interests, and wanting to have fun. We like to have fun, you know, and I think in the end that's what that pulls you through everything.
Yeah, that similar interest thing is really important, which brings me to a question that I didn't write down, but I just came to mind. I want to ask you. Okay, what about, Amy? What about people that are in, or men that are in, a different like stage of life than you are with kids? Like, for instance, let's say you have like a 15-year-old, right?
Yeah, I have a 15-year-old.
Okay, so let's say you met someone on Bumble.
Okay.
You initiated the conversation, and they said that they have 3 kids, 2, 4, and 6. How you doing? How you doing with that one? I'll wait.
That's a challenge. That is a challenge because I'm in the stage of my life where I'm thankful I have a teenager. I don't have to change diapers. I don't have to take her to daycare. That would be a tough one. I think I would maybe consider it if he and I had the same custody schedule weekend. That would be a maybe. But if his custody schedule is the opposite of mine, there's no way it would work.
That's hard.
I can leave my daughter alone for a couple hours, but he probably can't leave his kids alone for a few hours.
And remember how tired we were when we had kids that young? Like, yeah. Like I literally I'll shy away from that. Like I'm literally looking for someone that's in the same stage of life as me. Like your kids are grown or near. Like 15, I can handle.
Yeah.
Like 11, 10, not so much. I'd probably keep it pushing.
Yeah.
That's just my preference. I want to travel. I want to be able to go places, do things, not be stuck at the house. I've been at the crib for 20 years. I mean, come on, it's time to go.
Exactly. And it was fun.
It was time to get out there.
And it was fun having younger children, but you don't realize the freedom that you get as they get older. And I remember, like, when the kids were younger, I'd rather have a cheeseburger any day over having sex. just saying. Give me a cheeseburger, let me sleep, leave me alone. And now that they're older and kind of out of the house, I'm in this different stage of my life where it's like, oh my God, nobody told me it was going to be this much fun having grown children. Because I can go do what I want, when I want. Me and Jeremy can take off. It's just, holy cow. It's like a whole new world. I did love it when they were young, but I do remember those times where your entire life has to evolve around your school-age children, like the little ones. So, it'd be really hard. I guess it would depend on the situation and type of guy that had young kids. That's a big undertaking. It's a bit, that's a lifestyle
starting
change.
over.
Yep.
Right. They'd have to be super special for me to do that.
I remember before I met Karyl's brother, online dating had just started. I remember talking to one guy and he was like, if I meet a girl and she's got kids, I'm not going there. Period. I mean, I heard that a lot.
Age? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm talking early 20s, Karyl, before I met Ken.
Wow.
Yeah, he would tell me that. He's like, "Oh, I'm not interested if she's got kids," and I'm like, "Well, that's not fair,
Well, Well, at least she didn't have kids. That didn't apply to you.
I didn't have kids then. No.
It didn't apply to you, at least.
No. Yeah, exactly. He thought of another reason, not Amy.
Have you ever been like, okay, on Bumble or whichever one, but have you ever been stood up on a setup? Like you're supposed to go meet each other somewhere and you show up and they don't show up. Has that happened to you?
Happened a few times.
It's happened to everyone.
Do you ever reconnect with them on the app and be like, where are you or what happened?
I think I've been ghosted more than stood up, but I've been stood up a couple times. Yeah.
It's unfortunate. It's horrible.
It's just, some people, and I stood a guy up once. I felt bad about that, but I was not interested in him. He did not get the hint, he did not get the hint.
Well, wait, how could he get the hint if you agreed to meet him?
I kept saying I had plans. And he showed up at my parents' house because he knew where my parents lived.
Stalkers.
And after like 2 hours, my dad's like, I don't think she's coming.
I wouldn't say that's standing him up. I'm saying that's him being a stalker.
Yeah, he was
crazy.
at my house.
I bet your parents was just like, what are we supposed to do here?
My dad was like, I don't think she's coming back anytime soon, son. You probably need to go and go.
Wow.
And her parents
Did he get the hint after that?
I'm sorry?
Did he get the hint after that?
I think he did.
Oh, that's good.
I tried a few times to let him know I was not interested, and he, bless his heart, he did not get the hint. But yeah.
So nowadays, when you want to let someone know with your communication being more mature, are you able to tell someone straightforwardly, like exactly, like if they're floating your boat or not, or if it's just not going to work? Are you able to
I approach dating a little bit differently. I look at everyone as a friend first. So when I meet you, if we have a date or 2 dates, I consider you a friend. until you show me otherwise, you're just a friend. And that's kind of how I set my boundaries. If I see a future with that person, I'll let them know. But a lot of times I just meet some really good guys, and maybe the chemistry isn't there. They look good on paper, but the chemistry isn't there, and that's okay. I've met a lot of really good guys that way that I'm still friends with 7, 8, 9, 10 years later. So I don't consider that a bad thing to meet a positive male, and we're friends on Facebook, and I watch him meet someone and get married and establish a family, and I'm happy for him. I'm excited for him. So I need some positive men in my life. I don't need negative men. I need people encouraging me. So,
one of the things that I recognized being in the dating pool is I've actually come across a lot of people that have not learned how to be happy single. They have not learned how to be alone yet. And it wreaks havoc on trying to be in a relationship, because then they depend on you for their happiness and to make them whole. And I found a lot of men to be, just not to be, not ready, just not happy with themselves enough in order to have that, to be ready to be in a relationship. But they don't see a problem with it until I point it out.
Right.
What about you?
I used when I first divorced her brother.
It's okay. It's okay.
I had a hard time being alone. I'll be honest with you, Jennifer. I used to have panic attacks, because he would have my daughter for the weekend. I'd be like, I can't breathe. And so back then, I felt like I needed to have someone. But now that I'm 46, I love my independence. I love my freedom. I love the peace that I have without having to answer to somebody, right? And that's another thing I've learned in this class I'm taking. Like, you have to be okay with being alone, because, married people, husbands and spouses die all the time. Just because you're married doesn't mean you're not going to lose that spouse. They might die, or there might be a divorce. And if you don't know how to function by yourself, you've got a tough road ahead of you.
Yeah.
I feel like being single is not the worst thing in the world.
It's not.
It could be much worse. It could always be worse.
Being single is hard, and being married is hard. They're both hard.
Right.
Choose your hard.
Yes.
Which one are you going to be right now?
Choose your hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So of course I'm a little bit more confident now than I was back then.
Yeah. That's good. Peace is like, that is like paramount. Like, for me, if there's anything that happens to my peace, I will cut it off right away, because my peace is like worth more than $1 million to me. It's everything. And if my peace gets disrupted, then I'm not in balance, and I'm not happy. And I'd rather be single and at peace than having someone by my side any day.
Absolutely.
That's just me. Yeah. But peace is huge. Like, you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. But so you've learned to be happy as a single person. So there goes that question. You already said you're good now, but at first you weren't. But you learned how to be.
I've been single more than I've been in a relationship. If you think about it that way, So it's been a long time. I mean, I met Karyl 23 years ago when I was dating her brother.
Oh my God.
So in 23 years, I've been divorced longer than I was married. Yeah.
That's wild. It's wild.
I know.
It don't seem like we're that old. Well,
we are.
Sometimes it does.
I was with my son's father for 20 years, from 17 to 37. So, wow. Yeah. So talk about, like, I never even got to date. Like, I didn't know what that was. I was with one person from 17 to 37. So then in 2012, we got divorced. Yeah. And then I was like in these dating streets for the first time. I felt like a teenager. Like, I had no idea what to do. It was just really awkward. Right. But I'm great at it now. And I can with a text message, I can look at a profile and be like, nah, not going to work. Or it says never, okay, you look at their profile, it says he's this old and he does this and never smokes. But yet in his profile picture, he's lit it up. He's holding a cigarette. Okay, so we got a liar. Swipe left. Bye-bye. Right. Like, I just can see so much now. I'm like so good at it now. Like, I can really quickly get rid of folks and swipe left really quick and identify.
I will say, I will say the one positive thing about Plenty of Fish is they would ask you, what was your longest relationship? And if it was like 5 years or less, nix it. I wouldn't even consider
Oh, you
it.
do? Oh, they're gone? If they don't hit over 5 years? Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because if they haven't had a relationship over 5 years, how do they know how to deal with the tough times? How many crises can you go through in 5 years? In 10 years, you'll go through a lot, but not in 5 years, you know?
Yeah. That's huge. Like, I call that the resilience factor. And for me, like, I need someone that's been through some things that can stay the long haul and that doesn't crumble under pressure and that can handle a little bit of pressure. Like, that's huge. And that's why I think when you date, when you're older and you're dating, it's kind of cool because we've all been through a lot. So, well, most of us. And made it.
We've lost jobs, we've had kids, we've gone through divorces, we've had family members get sick, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So we know how to push through the hard times. So I think that's a good thing. It's a good thing.
So I have a question.
Karyl?
So if you could, just hypothetically, get married young like I did, or get married when you're more mature, like which would you prefer?
You know, I got married at 26. I was pretty young back then. But back then, that's what you did when you were in a relationship. That was the next thing, right?
Right.
I think if I had my choice, I probably would have waited till I was in my early 30s to get married, because I feel like I did a lot of growing up between 23, 24 when I'm 32. I feel like I did a lot of growing up. Of course, I had a kid. That was part of it. That changes your whole life, you know. But I purposely waited 5 years to have my daughter because I thought, okay, financially we'll be established. We'll be able to afford a child. Kids are expensive,
I thought I heard Luther. I'm sorry. I got sidetracked.
Oh, sorry.
Did I hear Luther? Let me see Luther. I heard you grunting or snoring or something. Hi, Luther. Make your cameo, baby. That's what's up. Hi, baby.
He's my shadow.
I love him.
Because I think about that sometimes, because I got married very young, 18, 19, and your brain is not even fully developed then. So it's kind of like when you get married that young, and if you stay together for years, you're not the same person at 18 as you are at 38. Because, you're still growing and evolving and it's hard for people to stay together, I think, that got married really young. I do know some people from high school that are still married, but I also know a whole lot of people who got married out of high school that are not together. But, where I grew up, it was very normal to get married out of high school. Eastern Kentucky was just the normal thing to do. And I just couldn't wait to get married at all. It's all I could think about. I was in that stage where I could live off love. I thought you could live off love, hell, you don't need money or anything. I didn't really know the real world, but Jeremy's been through a whole lot, and we basically raised each other when you think about it. I think about it all the time. I think it's why we got so many similarities. And but I always wanted my kids to wait later in life to get married. I always wanted them to go have the experience of college, things like that. Just wait till you're a little bit more mature and you don't ever have any, not doubts, basically. Because I always thought I was missing out. Like, I missed out on college. I missed out on this, that, and the other. And then in reality, in the end, I really didn't miss out on anything. But yeah, I think about that sometimes. What is it like to get married at 30 versus like 18? It's hard for me to wrap my mind around, like, what would it feel like?
And see, Karyl, I wish I was able to say I've had the same husband for 20-something years.
Well, there's pros and cons for each, for get married young or getting married when you're more mature. It's just, I guess it's just interesting. I was just curious, like, what would you pick? Because I know I would pick what I had, because now I know what I had from originally was the best for me. But for my daughter, I didn't want her to get married young. But it happened, and it's okay. And her life's great now. But I just wanted her to wait.
Penny's got a good one now. She's got a good one.
She's got a great
I've watched Penny grow up. She's a good one.
Amy used to babysit Penny and Andrew for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Penny would say, hi, IA. She'd call me IA.
She was like, what,
She's so cute.
3 or 4 when you first met her?
3 or 4. I've literally watched your kids grow up. It's a blessing, Karyl, for sure.
Watch my kids grow up to have kids of their own.
Yeah. And now I go to her grandkids' birthday party.
That's right. I love it. See, we're the modern family now. It doesn't care if you're divorced from your brother or sister. Family. Your
mother still introduces me as the daughter-in-law, and I know it confuses people in your hometown.
I still introduce you as my sister-in-law. It's just easier to say as my sister-in-law, like. And, because you are part of the family. And, Abby, she's awesome. So it's good for Abby, for everybody to be on the same page. That's great.
We made it work.
So what was your craziest online dating story?
Yeah, that was what I wanted to ask. Good one, Karyl.
Oh my gosh.
I can tell.
Yeah, we want this one. Give me the juice. Come on.
Crazy.
I have a lot of them. I'll tell you this one. There was this one guy I was talking to. He was from Frankfurt. And we decided that we were going to meet at a Bonefish Grill. And I showed up. You talked about getting stood up, right? I waited at the table for about an hour and a half, Karyl.
You waited that long?
I did. I'd already ordered my food and everything. And actually what happened was he actually showed up, okay, and walked around the restaurant, didn't even see me, and I was like, I just saw him. So then he gets outside and he messages me in the parking lot. He's already taken off. He's like, well, I showed up and you weren't there. I said, yes, sir, I was there. I was sitting over here at this booth at this table, and he just like took off. And what was funny about it is the people sitting across from me at the table, they felt sorry for me. They paid for my bill. I was like,
oh my gosh.
I actually had a gift card from Bonefish Grill. They felt sorry for me. They paid for my meal, and the chef came over. He said, I just wanted to let you know your check's paid for. And I'm like, well, that's really sweet. And he's like, yeah, these people felt bad for you. So technically I wasn't stood up. He was just pretty foolish, I guess. He didn't.
So you saw him circling the restaurant and you didn't say, hey, Mike, or not saying that his name was Mike, but I'm right here. You didn't let him know you were there?
He didn't see me. He didn't. And then by the time he got to the car and was heading towards Frankfurt, he was like, I can't believe you stood me up. I'm like, dude, I was there the whole time. What are you talking about? I didn't stand you up. You stood me up.
Oh, that's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
And there for like the next 3 months, he called me every day wanting another opportunity. And I was like, no, sir. No, you're not getting it.
Because he could at least texted hey, I'm here, or are you here?
Yeah, I don't see you. Some kind of communication. Who does that?
I think what really upset me was he didn't even apologize.
Oh.
After he realized that you were there, and his assumption or presumption that you weren't there.
I even texted him. Yeah. And I said, Kevin, just to let you know, these people across the table from me paid for my check because they felt sorry for me. I got a free meal, a $40 meal. I mean, I wasn't complaining, but it was like, come on now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I've had a few stalkers. Which are kind of scary.
Define stalker. Is it? It's not like the guy that showed up at your dad's house and just sat there for an hour. Okay.
No. So, I mean, again, this was before I met her brother.
Okay.
This was 2000. This is back when we all had landlines, right?
God.
I met this one guy one night, and he had piercings all over. I'm not going to say where, but because this is in PG, since Discord. But he called me 20 times a day.
Oh my gosh.
And back then, you couldn't block people on the landline. There was no capability for that. And he did that for 6 days straight. And it was my parents' phone because I lived with my parents at the time, and finally Mom was like, you need to do something about this. You need to get this guy stuck. He finally left me alone, but 6 days later of nonstop calls all day long.
That's crazy.
Yeah, red flag.
Wow.
Red
He
flag.
really wanted to show you all his piercings.
He really did. He really did.
It's like, wait, I have one more. Can I come over?
Yeah, he really did.
I'm bad. So, Amy, have you ever been catfished?
Oh, many times.
Oh my
Many
God.
times. Yeah, I have a lot of catfish stories. You know, a lot of times they would post a picture of themselves from like 10 years ago, and it's kind of ironic. There was this girl that I had class with. We both had the same major. She and I graduated together, and I was telling her my dating horror story of meeting this guy named Kevin. And I was like, yeah, he showed this picture. He was sitting in front of a water fountain. He was all buff and tough, and I said, and then I meet him, and he looked like the guy that I met looked like he swallowed 2 of those Kevins. She goes, what was his username? And I told her, she's like, that's my ex-husband. I'm like, what?
No way.
I kid you not. It was her ex-husband.
Oh my gosh.
He posted a picture that was 10 years old when he was in the Marine Corps, and he was like 300 plus pounds. And I didn't even recognize the guy when he walked in the restaurant. I thought he was some other person. And he's like, Amy? And I'm like, Kevin? Kevin? Yeah, me, Kevin. I'm like, you don't look like yourself, you know?
I will say that same thing has happened to me too, where I went on a date with someone. He drove all the way from like Lansing, Michigan. I live in Grand Rapids, so that was like a 45-minute haul. And he was coming to me, so I was like, cool, he's going to come to me. He was handsome. He was a little bit overweight, but not too bad in the pictures. And so he showed up at the restaurant, and then I walked in, and he was sitting down at the table, and he stood up. And I tried not to make my eyes big. I tried to stay just like this and be cordial. And he literally weighed at least 150 pounds more than what he did in his pictures. Now, I used to be really heavy too. However, I'm also honest. He's not. So I did the right thing. I think I did the right thing. I still had dinner with him. I still sat down and had dinner with him. I didn't want to embarrass him. I didn't want him to leave without his dignity, even though he was a liar. So I did have dinner with him. And then immediately following dinner, I let him know that, it wasn't going to work and that he did not look like his pictures. I felt like he was dishonest. And then do you know what? Like years later, because I've been in these dating streets for a while, years later, came across the dude again. But guess what? This time he lost a bunch of weight. Like he literally lost 150, 200 pounds, like easy.
Wow.
But I'm like, you're a liar. And he was cute, but sorry. I already gave you a shot. I don't care that you're skinny now. Yeah. I'm going to have to swipe left. So
believe it or not, this guy I just told you the catfish story about, he's still on the dating app.
Oh, wow.
I've been out of college 20, 21 years, 22 years. He's still on the dating app.
Penny
what's really messy is like when you are on the dating apps.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention any names, but I've had this happen where I'm on the dating app and then I see someone else's husband on the dating app.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, wait, is this? Wait, let me look at all the pictures. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's just like, obviously, swipe left. First of all, swipe left. And then I'm just like, oh, okay, internet for the win. I'm done. I'm done for the night. It just took my taste away. I don't even want to do it. I don't want to be in here in this game anymore.
Yeah, Penny was telling me there's a Facebook group where it's like, "Are you dating my guy?" or something like that. And she's always telling me these crazy stories.
Who do you think invited her to that group, Karyl?
There is a Facebook
beyond
group.
2 years.
Yep. It was just too toxic and messy. I think I joined that group just for kicks and giggles. I call it.
That's what Penny
still
follows
too toxic and messy. I had to get out of it. I don't even.
It's all about
entertainment
factor. It really is.
I couldn't do it. I'm like, these people. If you have to go to this, if you have to go to this group, then probably it's a red flag. You probably shouldn't be dating the person.
Speaking of which, if anybody out there has gotten that situation where you were dating someone else's husband or boyfriend, hit us up. We'd like to interview you about your experience on that. I'm just curious.
We would like to help you heal from your trauma.
What if you're dating someone else's husband and he lies to you that he's not married, but he really is?
Oh my
That's
God.
really bad.
That's awful.
Yeah,
That's
that
awful.
happened to me.
Oh my God. I think that happens a lot, especially like on Dateline. I listen to Dateline all the time. There's always that crap going on.
Oh, don't get us started with Dateline, Karyl.
I love Dateline.
We'll be on here all night.
Dateline.
We love Dateline. Yes,
Yes.
yes. No, that's why sometimes when you're on the dating apps, you don't want to be on Dateline.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to be
Yeah.
on Snap. And I don't want to be on the first 48 or after the first 48 or Forensic Files or Dr. G Medical Examiner. Can you tell I watch all of those? Yeah, so I'm going to have to do a swipe left on that guy. He looks like a serial killer. Bye-bye.
My former boss is on Snap Killer Couples, but that's another story for another podcast. So.
Oh my gosh, yeah. What?
We need to do a date. We need to do a Dateline Snapped episode.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
Yeah, for
gosh.
Sure. Exactly.
So here's one. Would you ever be on any reality TV show such as Love is Blind, 90 Day Fiancé, or especially I want to know, would you ever be on Married at First Sight, where experts research everyone and they put you together with the right person? Would you ever do that?
No way. No way.
No?
No, I would do that. No. I'll be honest with you. I wish I could meet someone with a blind date. I think a blind date would find me the best way to meet somebody nowadays. Because at least they're vetted by your friend, and your friend can say, I know this guy from here and there. He does this, he does that. And just, there's too much left to chance with those shows.
Yeah.
And I think they're probably 80-90% scripted anyway. So.
Yeah, and they don't work out. Most 80-90% of them don't work out anyway.
They really
Yeah.
do. They really don't. I love watching Love is Blind. I just finished the last season. I got hooked on it because my dentist had me start watching it. And I really like it. I think there's that tiny, small percentage that it actually works. But there's that huge group of people it doesn't. It's just, and then to find people like you're supposed to fall in love sight unseen. But it's really sad when they actually see the person. They're like, oh no, this is not what I want.
Yeah.
And so they wasn't even there for the right reasons anyway. So screw them. It's not all about looks. It all goes downhill.
It does.
Would you do it, Jennifer? Would you do one of those shows? You know, me and Jeremy had this conversation.
It's a nah for me, fam.
Well,
Hell nah.
Well, me and Jeremy had this conversation about Andrew. Like, if Andrew is still single, and I'm glad he's only 23, and that's fine. He can take his time meeting somebody. But if he's still single around 30, I wouldn't mind him trying Nick Lachey's Love is Blind. Like, why not give it a chance, you know? Like, but, you know, I'm in no hurry for my son to get married. But at the same time, like, for him, I would be like, yeah, I would, if I was 30, not married or anything, I would definitely give it a shot. What do you got to lose, you know? What do you got to lose?
I think I appreciate my anonymity a little bit more now that I'm older.
Your pride.
Yeah, that's true. Because Andrew doesn't
like
do
my
social
anonymity
media
a little bit more. I don't think I could do a reality TV
Andrew
show
does
right now.
too. He does too. He doesn't even do social media. So yeah, he probably would
He's
die.
so shy. I couldn't see him on a reality TV show.
No, without a lot of liquid courage, and he is not a drinker, so that will never happen.
Yeah.
But this has been like a really fun episode, guys. Oh my God. I really think it's good. It's just, and I really hope to hear from other people too, their dating experiences and everything. I like hearing about it.
For sure. Let us know what's out there in those streets. If you have anything to like warn us about,
stories.
please do so. Yeah, share some good stories.
Good stories. Yeah.
Hit us
Amy,
up.
we really appreciate you coming on here. Like, it was
Absolutely.
Amy's idea. We met for her daughter's birthday celebration at Longhorn, and she was like, Karyl, we need to do an episode on dating. And I was like, that might be good. Jennifer will probably really be down with that.
Yeah, good idea.
Little did I know I'd be on the single route once again.
So now we gotta have you on again though for that snapped thing.
Yeah, we need an encore with a different. Yeah, we gotta know about that. We'll have to have you back.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your wisdom, your candor, and you're fun. We appreciate you.
Well, thank you. I want to hang out with you next time you're in Kentucky, Jennifer. Let me know.
I'll be there very soon.
Very soon. We won't say when on here, but I'll be there very soon. So we'll hang out.
Great.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.